All right, give yourselves a big round of applause. You made it to the end of the day. Now, are we actually, we skipped the title slide. That's why I'm so confused. All right, so want to apologize right up front. This is not a sponsored session, okay? But you're going to see a lot of wasabi stuff here. Oh, you're leaving. I'm sorry. That's okay. And I'm using it as part of the story, as part of explaining what we did. And by the way, who here, raise your hand, who knows who KISS is? Oh my God, this is awesome. I'm with my people. Thank you so much. I was afraid there'd be like two of you and then all Justin Bieber. All right. Okay, so you understand the KISS principle, right? Keep it simple. All right, wasabi is a case study in keeping it simple, right? So let's go. First of all, the biggest problem today, of course, is getting attention, squirrel, right? Because whatever message you put together, how finely crafted it is, you're competing with so many other finely crafted messages, all right? So the question is, how do you get past these five-star influencers like Kim Kardashian or whoever the hell else is popular on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff? Whoops, let's back up. Take me back one, please. I don't know. There's no back button on this thing, I swear. So, as marketing professionals, right, what can we do to get attention for our products that we so richly deserve? We want, I think as Eric used to say, right, we want our unfair share of attention for our products and services. My advice, keep it simple. And it's easy to say this, but the fact of the matter is that simple is very hard, right? Very, very hard. Here, edit content for a living as part of the duties. Come on, put your hands up, be proud, right? We're all doing it. Have you ever gotten those 6,000 words and you've got to squeeze it into like 1,000? Yeah. Isn't that a great exercise? Your head is flat by the end of the day. Looking at all these superfluous words, wondering like, what dictionary did they just randomly poke their finger in to find these words? All right. So this is how the story of wasabi and how we kept it simple. Once upon a time, 2017, okay, cloud storage, that's our space. We're a cloud storage company. Priyanka unfortunately left, but I have such a great slide to poke fun at her company later. You'll love it. But once upon a time, cloud storage was dominated by just a handful of companies. Their fees were excessive, excessive, and complex. Anybody here use Amazon services? Anyone? Yeah. Anybody here know how to read a bill from Amazon without a PhD in bills, right? Or a PhD in finance? No, it's impossible. And that's by design, okay? They just beat you into submission. You're like, take my money, let's keep going, all right? So, the genesis, right? The beginning of the superhero story is in our founders, David Friend and Jeff Flowers, all right? And these two gentlemen have a fantastic entrepreneurial track record. And they simply said, right, what if we cut the cost of cloud storage by 80% and at the same time we make it simpler? Now that statement in and of itself is very elegant. And most folks would look at that and say, impossible. There's no way you can do this. Aha, but wait, there's more. They did it, okay? Jeff Flowers is our CTO, storage genius. Dave Friend, serial entrepreneur and incredible fundraiser. And what we have today is a company that flat fee, no additional charges, no complexity. It is a very simple storage service. That S3, okay, that's not us. But the fact of the matter is that this is now what is giving us essentially an advantage over our competition because they don't need a PhD in order to look at their bill. It's linear, it's predictable, it's simple. All right? Fast forward, we're doing pretty well. We've expanded globally. We've got great customer feedback. We've raised almost $500 million, and we've just been, oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the punchline later. We're doing pretty well, very well, I might say. So the question is, well, how did we do this? All right, I don't know who's asking who here, but I thought it was a great picture of, how did we do this? So in this session, I promised I would talk to you about positioning and messaging. So let's talk a little bit about positioning. By the way, if anyone can name what game this is, you get one free, yes? Othello? Incorrect. Go. Sorry, it is Go. You get one free year of Clue, as promised by the CEO of my new friend back there. All right, you can redeem that later after the conversation. All right. So in terms of positioning, right, that is how you differentiate yourself, right? That's the essence of positioning. Be different, okay? So what did we do? We absolutely differentiate ourselves in terms of price, all right? To the point where I came from a big enterprise storage company, rhymes with EMC, all right? And I couldn't believe, and in fact I was thrilled, that we were positioning ourselves first and foremost on price. It seems like almost taboo, right? Like you get to the price eventually, that's the punchline. We were positioning right up front in terms of price. And the best part is it was snapping heads around as fast as you could imagine, right? It was getting us the attention we wanted because we were so radically different than our competition, all right? Now, you can't just live on price alone. Eventually somebody will get an idea and finagle it and lie and try to make their price look better, right? We still beat them anyway. So we also had to promise better performance, and we did that as well. And we tested it and we showed all the results. And of course our CTO said, well, I can make this one go to 11. If you get that reference, you also get a free year of Clue, redeem it in the back, all right? And on top of that, you've heard of this little problem called ransomware? Yes, nod your heads up and down. We're almost done. Stay with me, all right? This little problem called ransomware, well, there's also the issue of protection, all right? Not only do I have to store your data and give you a great price, but I've got to make sure that nobody can steal it or encrypt it out from under you. Make sense? Yeah. So while our protection is essentially industry standard, we have hyped it to the point where we are now seen as the economical cloud storage company with the utmost protection. What an enviable position to be in, right? So now we need some messaging to go with our positioning. Make sense, right? So you would think there'd be a lot of bullet points and a lot of copy and a lot of text, but there isn't, all right? Our messaging is fairly simple and very, unaspirational. We just want to store the world's data, right? And we talk about this honestly and sincerely. Now, granted, if we stored all the world's data, I don't think there's enough power in the world to run Wasabi. That's another problem. We'll save that for another time. I love solar and wind, but it's just not going to cut it. All right, storing the world's data. Now, what does that do for the companies that we are trying to attract? Well, in one way, it helps them unlock innovation and discovery. The more data that they can have, and I know you all we just had a whole conversation about gathering data, right? Imagine how much more you could do if you could keep more data within your systems, your databases, more insights, right? Long tail, you could see trends emerging from a mile away. And what that does is that enables our CEO to go out and tell the story about the company and what it is we're trying to accomplish. And he tells it in such an amazing and persuasive way that people just write him checks and give him money because they want to be part of the Wasabi story, all right? So, every good story has an enemy. Yeah, I could have photoshopped it and turned the little thing around and made it a frown, but I don't want to get into trademark violations. And I think Priyanka's long gone, so I'm not in fear of insulting her in any way, I hope. But that's our enemy, right there. And it's such a great enemy, right? Because, again, I think we've already made the point of, you look at your Amazon bill, and if you haven't, I'll be happy to Google one for you. It's 16 pages long, all right? You need a microscope to read all the fine print, okay? And good luck trying to figure out how they charge you for what they did. So we went right after the biggest company there was. And why? Because we get great SEO results. We get so much affinity. We get picked up by all the Google searches, right? Because every time we name AWS as part of our press releases, guess what? We get swept up in their machine. It's fantastic. So here's what I did, just to prove that our messaging, our positioning hadn't changed in 5 years. I went back to one of the very first press releases that Wasabi put out. And you're going to have to trust me on this, but nothing has fundamentally changed, all right? We talked about who we are, what we do, right? Performance, cost, reliability, protection, right? The words have changed a little bit, but it's always been there, all right? We talk about being 1/5 the price and faster than, look at that, Amazon, right? You can be sure that that press release got picked up around the world, all right? We also talk about the fact that we hate vendor lock-in. That's another problem that folks don't want, all right? So by being 100% compatible with our competitor, we're basically saying you can lift and shift. Bring it to Wasabi, we'll take care of you, we'll save you a few $1 million. Right? That gets some heads turning around pretty quickly. By the way, interesting thing is, in Hollywood, we do a lot of work in media and entertainment. A lot of the studios do not want to give their money to the company that they are also competing with now, who is also making and producing television and movies, right? And we've also had some fun along the way about the fact that we don't sell books, we don't sell household goods, soap, dog food, right? We do one thing, and we do it incredibly well, and we do it for the benefit of our customers, all right? And then finally, another component, and you'll see this today in our press releases even now, we take the goodwill based upon previous entrepreneurial efforts. So Carbonite, anybody know Carbonite? Anybody ever use Carbonite for their backups? Yeah, thank you. Bringing some goodwill forward, because there's always the question, if you're in a startup, are you still going to be here next year, right? Are you viable? Do you know what the heck it is you're doing? The answer is yes, we do. We have the same genius who created Carbonite, which is still a running concern and still backing up tens of thousands of laptops around the world. He's also the genius behind our storage systems today. All right, does this make sense? You can nod your heads up and down. Excellent. All right, so I'm not going to go through the slide, but this is what's in my pitch deck all day, every day, right? Rule of 3, right? 3 pillars, price, performance, protection. We break that down 3 ways. This is what we talk to our prospects about, to our channel partners about, and to our technical alliance partners about all the time, right? You can get a copy online. Shoot me an email. Hook me up on LinkedIn. I'll send you whatever you like, all right? Now, every good company needs a spokesperson, right? And I have a face for radio. So I did not get the call, all right? And, well, we couldn't afford a Super Bowl commercial, and we couldn't afford Flo. We couldn't afford Dr. Rick, as much as he makes me crack up, and he should make you all crack up. But he didn't test well in the 8 to 88 category. So we passed on him, and instead we got Nate, all right? And we're now on, we've had Nate 1.0, Nate 2.0, and now Nate 3.0. And boy, this guy, his contract just keeps going up every time we go back and ask him to do another one. He knows he's onto a good thing. Look it up on YouTube, please. Some really silly, funny stuff. But talking about personas today, we figured out the way to speak directly to the IT director, right? To go right at their pain. And we used Nate to do it in a funny way, in an engaging way. All right. A few 100,000 views later, we've got a little cult following for Nate. Quite a character. Now, come forward a few years. One of the things I love about my company, about my CEO, is that he has an attitude of go big or go home. All right? He's like, what's the point of us raising millions and millions of dollars if we're not going to let people know who the heck we are? So we took advantage of the dip in sponsorship money that was being pulled in by the Fenway Group as well as by the Bruins, and we signed a contract with the Red Sox, with Liverpool Football Club, and with the Boston Bruins. So the next time that you're here in town at the TD Garden and you see Wasabi going around on the electronic sign, that's me. That's my company. All right? You can cheer. That's a great thing to see a little company do, okay? Liverpool, there are more people watching a Liverpool soccer game on any given day, you know, that watch the Super Bowl. Ooh, no lie. So when you see Wasabi on the electronic signage on the perimeter of the football games, now, why this guy is sitting in front of my hot, I don't know. And I want him taken off the field. He's costing me money. That's like a $100,000, guy sitting there covering up that hot. But obviously, we're getting tremendous pickup with that visibility, okay? And of course, the messaging is consistent in terms of who we are and what we do. So it's been a lot of fun seeing our brand going around the world this way. Finally, this is my genie. You get the joke, I hope, right? Yeah, I know. I bought this shirt on Amazon just for today. I hope you like it. I love Kiss. Kiss Destroyer, my first album that I ever had in my whole life. I think I wore that record out. So for us, for Wasabi, wishes do come true, all right? We've kept it very, very simple, all right? And I think I mentioned this already. We have a new campaign that we're turning up, and it's called Just One Thing, right? So we're doubling down, tripling down on the fact that we are a storage company. We're not doing compute, we're not doing books, okay? We're doing one thing, and we're doing it very, very well for our customers. And as a result, we realized our dream. We closed our D round just a few weeks ago. That put us over $1 billion in valuation, and I guess we're a unicorn now, so I need to find a... Thank you. I appreciate that. I've had a little part in it, so I feel proud. But I think the last message I'll leave you with, because I'm standing between you and the bar, is work as hard as you can to simplify your messaging, all right? The simpler it is, the easier your salespeople can repeat it, all right? The simpler it is, then your customers can understand it and embrace it, and then hopefully they become evangelists and start spreading the word of what you do to their friends and their friends and their friends. All right, I'll stop there. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And oh, wow, look at that. We even have some questions.
We got some time for questions. We'll make them quick. How did you identify what your key differentiators, aside from price, that matters to customer, and get the numbers to support that?
All right, so how did we go from price to performance and protection? So the good news is, Jeff Flowers and company, they've been in the storage business for 20, 30 years. And the good news is storage is a very well-known technology, right? So we didn't have to do any user groups or interview groups. We knew exactly what needed to be done. Performance is key because when you back up your data and there's a problem, you need to get it back fast. And protection, of course, is paramount. You cannot lose your customers' data, right? I mean, how many of you would buy another iPhone if it kept losing all your contacts? Nobody, right? You're smiling, I like that. So, that was a fairly simple test for us to pass.
Awesome. What's your favorite way to test your messaging and positioning?
I don't test the messaging and positioning. I leave that up to my comms team. That's their job. They've got the SEO team, they've got the PR folks, the AR folks. We talk to analysts all the time. They tell us how we should do our business completely different, and we tell them we're going to stick to one thing. And we really haven't had to tweak much. I mean, this is the part that blows my mind. Coming from a large enterprise storage company where you had to turn over the messaging every 2 years because, well, marketing had a budget and they had to spend it, okay? We have been so tremendously consistent, right? Little small changes, but the messaging continues to work. And so we're sticking to our guns.
It's bold. And why Wasabi? What's with the brand name?
Oh, so why Wasabi? So the rumor is that Dave and Jeff were sitting down on the couch drinking buds and they saw that commercial come on. You know that one? Wasabi. No, I'm kidding. So it was a combination of the fact that they wanted a name that was literally spicy, okay? And then when they actually found the person who owned the domain, all right, they said, hey, we want to buy the wasabi.com domain. And they said, well, I want this exorbitant amount of money. And they said, we'll be right back. So they went out and they cornered the market on all the alternatives. Wasabi.org, wasabi.biz, wasabi.asterisk. Then went back to the person and said, hey, by the way, we now own all the other variations of Wasabi. You want to renegotiate? We think we've kind of driven your price down. And they had. So they scooped it up and they ran with it. So there you go. That's the short story about Wasabi.
Nice, I love that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Kiss song? Kiss Nation.
Detroit Rock City. Yeah.